In this video, we're going to look at how to manage and organize many resources on AWS using AWS tags and AWS Systems Manager. As you grow in the cloud, you keep creating more resources, and without a simple way to group and track them, things can quickly become confusing and expensive. To see why this matters, let's start with a simple analogy. Imagine your AWS account as a big workshop full of different tools. At first, with only a few tools, it's easy to remember what's what. But over time, you add more and more tools, and suddenly it's hard to know which ones belong to which project, who owns them, or whether you still need them or not. That's the kind of problem tags and System Manager help you solve. In the cloud, you're usually not managing just a single server or database. You're managing whole environments and applications made up of many connected resources. Tags are simple key value pairs that you attach to your AWS resources. You can think of each tag as a small label with two parts: the key, which is the category, and the value, which is the specific detail of that category. For example, environment equals production. You can use tags to give resources readable names, to mark which team owns them, and to show which project or environment they belong to. For example, as we just said, you might tag a resource with environment equals production, project equals mobile app, or owner equals finance team. What really matters is consistency. If everyone in your organization uses the same tag keys and a simple naming convention, it becomes much easier to search and filter your environment. Now that we know what tags are, let's look at a practical way they actually help you. Tags are helpful in a few key ways. First, tags makes it much easier to find and filter resources as your account grows. For instance, you can filter EC2 instances, RDS databases, or S3 buckets to show only the ones tagged environment equals production, for example. Next, you can use tags to analyze and control costs. AWS billing tools can group charges by tags such as project or cost center, and at the end of each month, you can quickly see how much a certain application, department, or environment is costing you. Tags can also help with monitoring and alerts. For example, you can use tags in CloudWatch to group resources and build dashboards or alarms around a certain environment. Like, alert me if any production web server has high CPU. You don't have to manually list instances from that environment. You just tell CloudWatch to look for everything with a specific tag. AWS also gives you a higher level service to work with groups of resources together, and that's AWS Systems Manager. AWS Systems Manager is like a central control pane that lets you view and manage groups of resources. The interesting part is, not only in AWS, but also on-premises or even on other cloud providers. Now, AWS Systems Manager consists of tens of different sub-features and sub-services. In this video, we're only focusing on a few important ones, but in other videos, we'll be delving to them and cover them separately. One important feature is resource groups. Resource groups lets you define a set of resources that match certain condition, often based on tags. For example, you can create a group for everything tagged environment equals production, or role equals web server. Once you have these groups, you can see their status together and manage them as a single unit instead of one by one. On top of resource groups, Systems Manager let you take automated actions using things like run command. With run command, you can run a script or a command across all the resources in a group at once. For example, you might update an agent on all of your application servers or run a log collection script on a group of instances without logging into each machine separately. You can easily pass your script or command to run command in Systems Manager, and it'll take care of that for you. Another useful feature inside Systems Manager is Parameter Store. Parameter Store is a managed place to store configuration values and sensitive data, like database connection strings, API keys, or application setting, or whatever string or configuration that should not be stored plainly inside your code or application. Instead of hard-coding these values into your application code or leaving them in a plain text on a server, you store them as parameters in Systems Manager. Your applications can read those parameters securely at their runtime. So, before wrapping up the video, let's quickly see what are the key takeaways that you should remember about tags and Systems Manager at this stage. Tags give you a flexible way to label and categorize almost any AWS resources. When used consistently, they help with visibility, filtering, cost allocation, and monitoring. AWS Systems Manager lets you work with resource groups so you can see related resources together and act on them as a group. Within Systems Manager, tools like Run Command let you perform automated actions on those groups, and Parameter Store gives you a secure place to keep configuration and sensitive values that your applications need. If you remember these correctly, you'll have a much clearer and more manageable cloud environments. And with that, we've covered the essentials of using tags and Systems Manager together. That is it for this video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to your YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.